it's Tara from Teach Without Tears, and welcome to part 1 of my guided math series. Today we're going to talk about the whys of guided math. Why is it the best way to deliver your math instruction? And also we're going to look at some ways that you can stay organized and have everything ready that you need for guided math. So let's start with why. Why do I think guided math is the best way to teach your lessons? To do this, we're going to go back to my first year of teaching 14 years ago. And at that point, my district had the Everyday Math program, and we were teaching all of our lessons whole class. So you would give the lesson, the students would work, and some of them would get it, some of them wouldn't, and it didn't really matter. You just moved on to the next lesson the next day. So that didn't work very well. Then the next step that came, we turned over to the Envision math program, and at that point we decided that we were going to try to split our students up. We were going to group them based on their ability. So we had the high group, we had the middle group, and we had the low group. So each teacher took a different group. Well, the years that you had the high group, you were golden because your students came in able to pass the standardized tests. If you had the low group, you were in trouble because you would help one student get it, but then you'd realize you still had 20 other students who had no clue what they were doing. So that didn't work either. I was getting frustrated because I felt like I was failing some of my students in math. So that's why I decided to start trying guided math, and I haven't looked back since. Guided math lets me differentiate and meet the needs of all the students in my classroom, and here's how. With guided math, I give a pre-test at the beginning of every topic, and I use that to form my guided math groups. So I have a group that already pretty well understands the topic that I can then challenge. I have a group that is right on. They're able to do some of it, but they still need to learn some. And then I have my group that really isn't coming to me with much knowledge on the topic, who really needs some remediation and help. So with those 3 groups, I have 3 different centers. They come to me for a Meet the Teacher center, they go to a problem-solving center where they apply the topic, and then they do a technology center where they're working on fact practice, review of previous skills, and they're still practicing the day's skill as well. So with guided math, I'm able to meet with the group and meet their needs at their level, which is huge. So let's talk about this. I'm working on getting together my first unit, which is on place value. Our first unit in 3rd grade is a place value unit. So I put a binder together for each of my units. This is my place value binder, and inside it I put all the papers that I am going to need. So it starts off with that pre-test that I give on the first day of school. I'll be giving a pre-test on place value, probably the second day actually. Usually I ease them in a little bit. But the second day of school we'll do the place value pre-test, and I'll use this to make my 3 groups. Then, for each place value lesson, I have a lesson plan, and I have all the papers that need to go with it. On my lesson plan, I have everything spelled out, from my I can statement that I need to display on my math board, to my mini lesson, what I'm going to do for that. My mini lessons are really short, usually between 5 and 10 minutes, and they usually involve a quick video clip to introduce the lesson and a few practice problems that we do whole class. I keep it really quick, like just 1 or 2 problems, because then I'll do more practice with my students in our small group. The lesson plans also have what I'm going to do with all 3 groups in my center, so it's differentiated. My highest group, I'll push them a little bit farther and do some harder things with them, whereas my lowest group, we're really going to do some drill and practice with that skill to try and make sure that they're able to master it. Then I have my center, my technology center. That one's set up pretty much the same every day, and I'll be going into these in more detail on another day, but they always do some fact practice, and then I also list in here what other websites are going to use to practice the day's skill. I also have the plan for my problem-solving center, and then there's also an exit ticket at the end of the lesson. So after the lesson plan, I have all of the pages that I need. So these are my problem-solving center activities. They're using the day's lesson, but they're stretching it to real-life practice. So in this one for place value, we're learning about writing in word form and in expanded form. So they're using word form to write out a check, and then they're using the different forms to write numbers as well. I always put some sort of manipulatives at my problem-solving center also, so they have something to work with. There's also always an extra time activity at my problem solving center, and I'll show you that in just a second. So each group has a slightly different problem solving activity based on their ability. And then that extra time activity, the way I organize that, because it's usually some sort of a game. So what I do is I laminate them and then I pull them out the day that I need them. They don't really go in my binder because I don't want to punch holes. So what I do is I make a separate manila folder for each lesson. And these manila folders are where I keep those game activities. So all I have to do is pull it out the day I need it and I put it into the little baggies behind me. Again, I'll show you more about that on our problem solving day. So also back in my binder, after all of the different problem solving activities, I also have an exit ticket. And this is just my quick check at the end of the lesson to see how well my students understood it. If they're able to do this, I know they've mastered it and are 100% ready to move on to the next lesson. If they did not get the exit ticket correct, that shows me that I need to pull them and go over it again before I move on to that next lesson. So that's how I stay organized for guided math and keep my teacher materials together. Make sure you come back and join me for the next video. We'll be talking about how to use the pretest and the data you gather from it to form your groups. And I'll also show you how I let my students know which rotation they're at each time. Then after that, the next videos are going to talk about the parts of the guided math lesson. We'll talk about the mini lesson in a video, then we'll go through the problem solving, meet with the teacher, and technology centers, and I'll show you everything about how I set those up. If you're interested in my 3rd grade place value materials, you can get everything at the link down below. And make sure that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Just turn on the notifications by clicking the bell at the top. And then be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you'll never miss another teaching video. Bye!